Next on the agenda, ladies and gentlemen, we call him Jata. Jata is a lion. He's fearless. Anybody in Ghana knows him. And of course, there's no doubt that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama believes in his competence, and that's why he appointed him the Minister for Communication, Innovation and Digital Technology. He's also Member of Parliament for Ningo-Prampram constituency. Ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, let's welcome Honorable Samuel Nartey George.
Very good morning, everyone. A very good morning, everyone. Better. First time I said good morning, I thought I was at the cemetery. Now I know I'm in a room of innovators and techpreneurs. To the co-founder of the Africa FinTech Summit, Mr. Zacharias Amsalu, distinguished guests, partners and delegates, innovators, inventors, leaders of Africa's digital revolution, ladies and gentlemen, once again a very good morning to you and welcome to the beating heart of Africa, Accra. It is with immense pride and gratitude that I welcome all of you to this Africa FinTech Summit that's taking place here in Accra. For us in Ghana, it's an honor to host such a distinguished gathering of thought leaders, innovators, regulators, investors, and policymakers from across Africa and around the globe. On behalf of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama and the people of Ghana, I want to warmly extend our warmest welcome, and I hope and trust that during your time here, you will experience not just the richness of our hospitality as Ghanaians, but also the spirit of innovation that rules through our veins and shapes Ghana's digital journey. Let me express my sincere gratitude to the co-founder of the African FinTech Summit, Mr. Zacharias Amsalu, and his entire team for convening this critical platform to share thoughts on a foundational block of our economies, the financial sector, and the technological revolution that impacts lives and ensures inclusivity. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we meet at a moment when the financial world is being redefined at a breathtaking pace. The rise of AI, artificial intelligence, blockchain technologies, open banking systems, and digital payments is not simply changing the way we think about money. It's actually changing the way people live, work, and connect. Globally, fintech has moved from being a niche sector to becoming a pillar of economic growth, with projections showing that the industry will surpass the $400 billion in market value mark within just a few years. And I dare say that when I say $400 billion, I mean US dollars. I'm not speaking of the other dollars that we know. What is remarkable about Africa's place in this global transformation is that we're not just passive followers. We're actually active pioneers. And I listened to Mr. Zacharias speak about the role of fintech, and the MC spoke about M-Pesa and Momo. And I say to people that Africa started doing mobile money transactions before the rest of the world. Today, you go to America and they've got Venmo and Zelle. They learn from us. We own that technology. That's a proudly African innovation. And I thought you would clap for yourselves as Africans. For decades, too many of our people were excluded from the formal financial system. Today, fintech is changing that narrative. Across the continent, mobile money is putting financial tools in the hands of market women and smallholder farmers. Remittances are reaching families instantly and securely. Credit is being extended to micro and small enterprises that form the backbone of our economies. And these innovations are not simply about convenience. They are actually about empowerment, resilience, and inclusion. Ladies and gentlemen, in countries such as Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Egypt, and certainly here in Ghana, African fintech startups are attracting unprecedented levels of investment. Our innovators are not only building solutions for local needs, but are also exporting ideas to the world. Regulatory sandboxes, climate smart fintech tools, and new cross-border digital payment platforms are examples of how Africa is shaping best global practices. This summit is therefore a bold statement to accelerate trade under the Africa Free Continental Trade Area (AfTA) and to connect our young entrepreneurs with global opportunities. Here in Ghana, our commitment to building a digital economy that leaves no one behind has been steadfast. At the ministry, since I got appointed 8 months ago, our mantra has been to build a digitally inclusive, data-driven economy. And over the past decade, our country has laid a strong foundation, starting from the very first term of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama between 2013 and 2016, for financial inclusion and digital innovation. Through mobile money interoperability, Ghana has become one of the first countries in Africa to create a system where citizens can seamlessly move money across different networks and banks. Today, over 90% of our adult population has access to mobile financial services. With our Ghana.gov platform, which is currently undergoing a review, we're going to launch the Ghana.gov version 2.0 before end of year. We have digitized government services, making it easier and more transparent for citizens and businesses to interact with public institutions. Our central bank, the Bank of Ghana, has established an innovation office and regulatory sandbox to encourage responsible growth in the fintech space while ensuring that consumer protection and financial stability remain paramount and uncompromised. Our broader digital transformation agenda under the ministry that I lead continues to prioritize investments in e-payments, cybersecurity, digital identification, and support for startups. In light of this, my ministry is currently doing the final stages of its stakeholder engagement on the Ghana Innovation and Startup Bill, which is going to build a legislative framework for innovation and startups in Ghana across all sectors. More importantly, Ghana has placed young people at the center of this journey. Our youth are coding, they're building, and they're dreaming up companies that are solving real problems, not only here at home, but across Africa and beyond. Distinguished guests, under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, our strategy has been clear: to build a robust digital infrastructure as the foundation, erect or enact forward-thinking policies as the framework, and foster vibrant public-private partnerships as the engine of growth. The Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations has initiated policy and legislative review to address the needs to establish an innovation fund to support our startups and entrepreneurial growth among our youths. We're also developing a Data Harmonization Act to ensure seamless data standardization and interoperability among systems and building a resilient sovereign cloud to enhance our businesses' sustainability. As we look to the future, I believe that Africa's fintech landscape will be defined by 3 central imperatives. The first is inclusion. Access must be coupled with transparency, affordability, and digital literacy. We must ensure that women, rural communities, and marginalized groups are fully integrated into the digital economy. Fintech must not widen the gap, but it must rather close the gap. The second point is trust. Building robust frameworks for data protection, consumer rights, and cybersecurity is essential to maintaining confidence in our systems. Without trust, technology cannot flourish. In Ghana, we're committed to building and strengthening our regulatory frameworks, like the Data Protection Act, which is currently being reviewed by the ministry, to build trust and safeguard the assets and privacy of every Ghanaian and investor. The third point is integration. The future of African fintech lies in our Pan-African collaboration, and I see the PAPSS symbol at the back there. The Africa Free Continental Trade Area provides us with an unprecedented opportunity to harmonize regulation and payment systems to facilitate cross-border trade and investment, creating a truly continental digital economy. If we succeed, FinTech will not only support local innovation, but also create a truly interconnected African marketplace. And let me just deviate a bit from my script here and speak a bit about financial integration across the Africa region, because I see that we've got people from across the African continent here. AfTA remains a dream and a mirage if we do not make digital trade the center pillar of making AfTA work. We must make it seamlessly possible for a tea farmer in Kenya's Rift Valley to sell their product and receive payments to a shop, a tea shop here in Accra. And that payment must remain truly African. And why do I say truly African? I do not understand why I walk into a Ghanaian bank today and I want to transfer money from Accra to Cape Town, and the first offer that the bank makes to me is through the SWIFT system when we have the PAPSS system. For every transaction that happens on the SWIFT system, some correspondent bank that doesn't sit on the African continent and has no African connection makes money off African transactions. But if we began to utilize our Pan-African payments system, the PAPSS system, African transactions will happen between African banks, facilitating African growth and growing our own African indigenous banks. That must be the focus. And so I make a clarion call this morning from Accra to every head of a central bank on the continent. Dear central bank governors, put your egos aside and let's work together for the betterment of Africa. Let us have direct exchanges between the 54 African currencies. Let's have direct exchanges between the Ghanaian cedi and the Nigerian naira, between the Kenyan shilling and the South African rand. I should not have to change my cedi into US dollars to pay someone in Sierra Leone. And that person will have to then change the dollar into the Sierra Leonean currency. Makes absolutely no sense. Let's put ego aside. Let's make PAPSS work. And that's the only time AfTA can really reach the African dream of connecting all of us. Now, I've said my piece. I'll go back to the speech. The role of government, therefore, is not to stifle innovation with overregulation, but to be an active enabler and a responsible custodian. We're here to create the sandbox for your ideas to flourish while ensuring stability and consumer protection. In conclusion, the Africa FinTech Summit is more than an event. It's a movement that celebrates the ingenuity of Africa's people. It challenges us to look beyond traditional boundaries and to reimagine what finance can achieve for our continent. As the world looks for fresh ideas about the future of finance, let it look to Africa. As Africa seeks a model of inclusive digital innovation, you are welcome to look at Ghana. I am confident that with the conversations and collaboration that will take place over the coming days, those will contribute to shaping a future in which FinTech delivers not just profit for a few, but prosperity for all. On behalf of the government of His Excellency President Mahama and the people of Ghana, I wish you fruitful deliberations, and I invite you to join hands with us as we build a digital economy that serves every African. Welcome once again. Together, let us shape the future of finance in Africa. Mochumka in my local dialect, Mindanyashi in the dialect of the people of Accra, Oyewaladon also in ours, and then Midasi in Chi, Akpenami in Ewe, and Mungode in Hausa. Thank you very much.